if we go through it bits and pieces, growing up in Canada, there is a thought process that Black Americans, I'm using the United States specifically, that is the type of culture and pieces that you see within Canada.
Okay.
The benefit of being in Canada has been the cultural diversity even amongst blacks. In that, if you're Guyanese, you're Trinidadian, St. Lucian, Grenadian, Jamaican, we all have our separate identities, and it didn't just get molded into 400 years of you're black.
Right.
So within Canada, you have pockets of people who very much identify with their West Indian background, but are still identified as Black Canadians, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The piece that I find that happens within the United States very specifically is with regards to how they came to the US and how slavery kind of impacted that overall, that is a picture that is kind of painted all the way across our border into Canada. And it's not the same. That said, there are still moments in time, I can't even say moments in time, there is still a perception period across race lines of what a black person is. And if you were to sit down and have a conversation with most people and you tell them you're from the West Indies, the only place that they can identify right away is Jamaica. But there's so much more to the West Indies than just Jamaica.
Right.
So there's that piece. Then there's the piece of, to your point, who's the villain in what story and how do you see it? Going back to A Bronx Tale. If you're really taking apart how black people were perceived in North America, Canada very specifically, there are a lot of things that were very similar to the States in how you could own property, when you could actually do certain things, and how you actually got through. A story that happened to my dad, I was a very young child at the time. We got lost on the street, just driving through Toronto somewhere. And in getting lost, we got pulled over. The only recollection I have of this story is lights were on, somebody was talking to my dad, it was a police officer. But the questions that were asked of my dad as I got older and we had that conversation again was, why are you down in this neighborhood? Do you not know where you are? Go back to where you came from. And he's
Yikes.
like, I'm a Canadian citizen. I live in this area, but I just happened to take a wrong turn, so I'm in the wrong space. And the police officer's like, well, then you move yourself along, or you and your family are going to spend the night in jail.
What the fuck? And this is late 70s.
Yeah.
Wow.
So taking that and fast forwarding to your point about growing up in Hamilton and the amount of black people that were in your school. I grew up in South Oshawa. Everybody knows the Schwa,
Yeah.
those who are from Durham region. Good old Schwa. 900 to 1,000 kids in the school. And when I got there in grade 9, I was one of, I want to say like 10 max in my grade of over 100 students that were black.
That's actually a lot more than maybe it's because I went to a Catholic school. Because I would assume you went to a public school.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 10 kids in my grade throughout. So over 100 kids, and there's 10 kids that are black in grade
So
9.